And good evening, I'm Erica Hill, in for Aaron Burnett. Out front tonight, the breaking news: President Trump just moments ago announcing that he is removing former President Biden's access to classified information. Now, that includes putting an end to his daily intelligence briefings and also revoking his security clearance. The president writing there is, quote, no need for Joe Biden to continue receiving access to classified information. Going on to say he set this precedent in 2021 when he instructed the intelligence community to stop the 45th president of the United States, me, exclamation point, from accessing details on national security, a courtesy provided to former presidents. The Hur report revealed Biden suffers from poor memory and even in his prime could not be trusted with sensitive information. He goes on to say, I will always protect our national security. Joe, you're fired. Make America great again. This move, like so many others that we have seen in just the last couple of weeks, it's about payback. You may recall Biden revoked Trump's access to intelligence weeks after the January 6th attack, at the time saying this.
I just think that there is no need for him to have that intelligence briefing. What value is giving him an intelligence briefing? What impact does he have at all, other than the fact he might slip and say something?
Jeff Zeleny is out front live at the White House for us tonight. So, Jeff, is this really more of a tit for tat? What's behind all of this?
Well, it's definitely a tit for tat. There's no question about that. And President Biden clearly has been on the mind of his successor quite often. We've heard it in day after day, speech after speech. President Trump still referring to President Biden. He did it in today's economic report. He did it in a speech yesterday. But look, this is something that the president, as he was flying down to Mar-a-Lago, where he's spending the weekend, posted on social media out of the blue that he decided to revoke the daily classified briefings. There's no doubt that this is just one in a series of steps. Right after President Trump took office, he revoked the security clearances for several former officials. So this is a continuation of that, if you will. But there's no question when President Biden made those comments you just played there, Erica, he could not have envisioned or imagined that Donald Trump would be back in the White House only 4 years later.
No, it's an excellent point, Jeff. When we look at this, though, when it comes to, give us just a sense of the precedents here, right, in terms of former presidents, security clearances, daily briefings, how does that generally work?
Look, I'm told that presidents actually and former presidents do not have security clearances. Once you are president, of course, you have access to whatever classified information you would like to have. If you're a former president, unless you had a security clearance before from, say, a previous job in perhaps the FBI or the intelligence community, you do not have a security clearance, but you are entitled to a briefing. And the reason former presidents get briefings is when they go out and give speeches or talk to groups or perhaps have discussions with foreign leaders, they're given some intel on what they can say. And in the case of Jimmy Carter, for example, he received intelligence briefings because he was still going around the world. So he was briefed on things and then he would come back with things he heard. So that is the reason for former presidents having a security briefings here, though. But as for the security clearance, the people I've talked to, at least just quickly here, believe that is essentially irrelevant. But the daily briefings, that is something President Trump can do. It's what Biden did 4 years ago.
Absolutely.
Erica?
Jeff Zeleny at the White House with the breaking news for us. Appreciate it. Thank you. Also with us tonight, David Axelrod, Aaron Perine, and Ryan Goodman. David, when we look at this here, what is your initial reaction? Yes, there's a tit for tat, but as Jeff laid out, there is also, I mean, security clearance, daily briefings. It sort of depends where you're at post-presidency.
Yeah, well, like this is another norm that's just going by the wayside in the era of Trump. But I don't think it has particular meaning, and I think that it is completely predictable because the president's been on a vengeance tour since he took office. The thing that worries me, and the thing I think is more relevant, is not the people he's taking security clearances away from. It's the people he's giving security clearances to. He signed an executive order on his first day, essentially giving him the ability to give top secret security clearances to anybody he wants as they went through the security review process. So you could get it without fulfilling that process. So we don't really know who all has that. Who among the Doge crew, Elon Musk and the Musketeers, as they go rampage through agencies, what what clearance they have. Some of the appointees, Tulsi Gabbard, is another example. And this has been, of course, discussed in the Senate hearings. So we should focus on the here and now. And the question is, who does have security clearances now, and should they?
Aaron, to that point, do you think the administration has been transparent enough about those clearances? And even when we look at, we heard, I believe it was Caroline Leavitt saying in the briefing just yesterday when asked about Elon Musk and conflicts of interest this week, was basically said, well, he's going to police himself and pull himself out or wait, sort of raise his hand if he thinks there may be a conflict of interest. Is there enough transparency and oversight at this point in the administration, Aaron?
Well, I don't believe there's ever a full list of people given security clearances that is put out by any administration. So I don't think that that would be something that the Trump administration would or should do if we're trying to go by norms here. When it comes to transparency, I mean, you can certainly try and argue about DOJ if you want, but technically Elon is a special government employee, so he is bound by the ethics and the rules that exist within that type of position. So there is certainly oversight in this. And at the end of the day, the buck ends and stops with Donald Trump. He's been clear throughout this process that Elon does report to him. It's clear that Elon does report to President Trump and that any decision that he makes has to be cleared by Donald Trump. Nothing's just being done unilaterally. And I know that Democrats are making Elon this big, scary monster for themselves, but they have to take a deep breath and remember, every time they get themselves spun up about Elon Musk and DOJ, they are off base on what the American people want from them, which is what they want from everybody in elected office right now, which is lower cost of goods. Democrats are all over the place chasing Elon Musk right now, and it's because they're a lost party in the woods without a leader and without a policy platform. So instead, they're just flailing in the wind, chasing Elon around D.C.
Ryan, what do you make of these developments?
So I think it's within President Trump's legal prerogative to do what he wants to do with the security clearances. It seems a little petty. I have a middle schooler. It kind of reminds me of some of that. But he can certainly do it. The premise by which he's doing it on the Hur report, Special Counsel Hur, I mean, that's kind of odd because Special Counsel Hur, in fact, gives Biden a clear. He actually says that he did not intentionally mishandle the documents, that he didn't necessarily even know that he had classified documents because it was staff that had handled it or mishandled it. And Donald Trump is the one who, in fact, is indicted for mishandling the documents. And most close legal observers think that it was an open and shut criminal case under the Espionage Act. So that's a little bit of that's not exactly a parallel universe in which he's invoking this idea, but can he do it? Absolutely, it's his prerogative.